What's going on, guys? It's Perna here, and today we're going to talk all about cardio. So by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what cardio you should use to get absolutely shredded, and everything there is to know about cardio that's important. Everything to know that's important, okay? Let's get into it. So first of all, what is cardio for? I consider cardio having two main benefits. One is cardiovascular health of your heart, so you don't just drop dead carcass when you're like 25. Secondly, also cardio is beneficial for burning calories. The more calories you burn, the more fat you're going to burn, obviously. So I use cardio for a little bit of both, but primarily to burn fat. Now, I love the approach of more food and more burning because I think a lot of people don't actually burn enough calories in general. Most people are pretty lazy, they don't really move much, and they might get their steps in, but it's really kind of doing fuck all, as you'll soon see. So I think cardio is a great way to burn fat. I would much rather do more cardio and eat more food, and that's what I do when I'm dieting. So in my opinion, I always do cardio when I'm getting leaner. If I want to get shredded, I need to do cardio. Some people just can not, and that's fine, but me personally, if I don't do cardio, I'll need to eat nothing to see decent results. So cardio, all it is burning that extra fat. So let's say you're eating at maintenance calories, maybe 2,000. You do a solid cardio session, burn 500 calories, bang, there's your deficit. Let's say you eat in a deficit already, so you're in a 200 calorie deficit, add 500 calories worth of cardio in, now you're in a 700 calorie deficit, now you're burning a lot faster. So there is a rate that your body can burn fat, and that is literally how big your energy deficit is. So if you're burning this much, and then now you're gonna raise that by cardio and burn this much, now the rest of it's fat. So that's great. Now, what kind of cardio should you do? I kind of break this up into a few different elements. Now, before we even get into that, I would love to say, whatever cardio that you personally can stick to and that works best for you and doesn't feel as bad or as punishing, go for it. Because obviously with a diet, anything that you can stick to is the best thing for you. But obviously you got to know what you're choosing here. Because if you just choose to walk outside as opposed to maybe doing something else, you need to know what you're working with. So let's talk about cardio of just burning fat. Here are a few options. Number one, you can go for a walk outside. Easiest way to burn calories. It's probably like 320 calories for me on average for an hour walk outside. Takes time though, takes time. So sometimes that's fine. You might just chuck a podcast on or listen to music or just zone out, whatever. It's fine, take the hour. Sometimes you get a bit over it and you can't be bothered. And I think you get better fat loss results when you up the intensity. So then I usually do, this is my preferred method, about at least 20 minutes, but usually 30 or 40 minutes of incline walking on the treadmill. 5 kilometers an hour, about 12% incline to 15, kind of just mess with them, fuck with the changes as they go. That creates a really large, basically deficit in energy because it's quite hard to do. And if you do that every day, it's burning probably like 400 calories at least, and in half the time that you would of walking on the flat. So I usually think, as a rule of thumb, treadmill on an incline burns double the calories of time as opposed to walking on the flat. So if you want to finish it off at the end of the session, great. In terms of when you do cardio, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I do it before my session because it's like a warm up, great. Sometimes after because it doesn't affect the intensity of my weights. So entirely up to you, whatever you prefer to do. But when I'm getting my leanest, when I'm getting my absolute leanest, I will do 30 to 40 minutes of incline treadmill daily. That is it. I don't really work around that. I don't change it. It's just, I know what works and it's hard and it works. If I were to do that outside, I'd have to double it. That's an 80-minute walk outside. Usually, I can't be fucked doing that. Usually it's pretty hard. If not incline treading, maybe stepper, maybe a combination of both. Maybe I'll go like 20 minutes on each, and that's 40 minutes total. Maybe 20 before the workout, 20 after, something like that. Now, another thing to note too is that you can do high intensity cardio. So high intensity has a couple of disadvantages, couple of advantages. The disadvantages of high intensity is it can be obviously really difficult and affect the intensity of your workouts later. So if you do like high intensity on like a ski erg or rowing machine or assault bike, that can really like fatigue your arms and back and legs, might affect the training intensity. And if it affects your training intensity, you can't lift as much in your weights. You obviously run the risk of losing muscle or not maintaining muscle during a deficit. So I would say do the cardio that doesn't affect your weights as much. That's like kind of number one. But yeah, high intensity is great for a couple of reasons. Like obviously it burns the most calories. If you do a rower or ski erg or assault bike or even skipping, you're gonna burn a lot of calories as opposed to just like walking, something easy, which I think is common sense, obviously, right? Like it's fucking hard, even in the smaller duration. So this is like a weird hack for me, is that for me to do 15 minutes of high intensity, what would I rather do? That or maybe half an hour walking on incline or maybe an hour walking outside. It kind of changes depending on how I'm feeling that day. I don't really mind, but I know it's all roughly the same in that sense. So if we want to actually test it, we can test these things. I might actually do an accurate calorie burning, what's the hardest, but it really depends on what you can stick to comfortably. So one of my routines to get absolutely diced is in the morning, head down to the gym. When I had my home gym, that was great, very easy. Otherwise, drive down to the gym and just pump out 40 minutes of cardio. Maybe 15 on incline treadie, maybe 15 on the stepper, and then like 10 on the bike, something like that. 40 minutes done. Do that every day and maybe split it up before or after you work out if you want to save time and just kind of like efficiency of going to the gym once. Great. But I found when I do that, it is so easy to get lean because once you start dropping calories and you're already doing that output of cardio, it's very, very easy. What most people do is they start strong and they go all the cardio in the world, they go crazy. And then after a while, they can't keep it up. So then they go, oh shit, I can't really be bothered anymore. And they stop a bit, then they stop losing weight and they're like, oh, the cardio didn't work. So you need to do this for a long period of time. You need to do it for the entire length of your cut, which should be at least, 3 to 4 months here. Or you could go fully aggressive and do it in 2 months, but it's kind of story for another video. So I would kind of, in a nutshell, I would explain, choose the method of cardio you want to do and just know that if it's outside and it's easy, like just walking, you're going to need to do a lot. It's going to be a lot of cardio. If it's on the treadmill on an incline, that's kind of my most favorite, at least 30 minutes, right? 20 to 30 minutes. And if you're going to do something like high intensity, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. The other day I went way too hard on high intensity and it put me off. It was like, it just made me feel absolutely sick. Something weird happened to my diaphragm that made me feel sick for a whole day. My back maybe had gone out, I don't know, I just went way too hard without like proper warm up or who knows, but it just cooked me. So I was like, I'm not really doing that anymore. And now since then, I've just been doing like normal incline treadie or Stairmaster and it's just easy. It's kind of easy to just smash it out, make a party routine, don't think about it. It's interesting to note that when you finish a diet, I thought I might add this in here. A lot of people, they don't want to do cardio anymore because they're done, they're just over it, they hate it, which is fine. And interestingly, you don't need to stress too much because once you finish a diet, you want to reverse out of that, get out of it as quickly as possible. When you drop your cardio, often your body makes up for it with an increase in NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is just the calories you burn at rest and like just fidgeting, not at rest, that's BMR, but just kind of moving around subconsciously and unconsciously moving, really, fidgeting, all that stuff. So that will go up even if you drop your cardio out as kind of like a compensatory kind of mechanism, which is cool because it means that you don't need to stress about gaining body fat after you've been doing cardio for so long. So I wouldn't stress too much when you're finishing a diet, but I think cardio is a great tool to have in your arsenal. Most people should be doing cardio quite regularly, especially if your goal is fat loss. If your goal is fat loss, keep it in there, that's great. In terms of like priorities, I would say probably weight training is #1 priority, and then you slot your cardio in and around that. So any questions on cardio, you guys let me know in the comments below. Hopefully that made it a little bit clearer on when, why, and how to use cardio. That is it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video and you guys know what to do. Stay massive.